Hi there. I'm here in a messy basement, which I did not care to tidy up for this video. Behind me is an old, saggy, backache-inducing mattress, which I found suitable for a background. I exist. Or not. It's impossible to know for sure, but let's just this one time assume it to be true. I would also like myself to exist somewhere. The place is usually called reality. It should probably also exist for me to be a part of it. After all, that's what reality does by definition. We've been observing reality for quite some time now, and have come up with some useful observations. These are facts that are not necessarily true, but strongly believable. Say, laws of physics. Conservation of energy. No matter what happens to the system, the energy in it is conserved. A rock-solid rule. We rely upon it daily, trust it unconditionally, though there isn't actually any rigorous proof for this fact. We've just been observing it for so long, and have seen no contradiction to it, that we've come to accept it. Furthermore, there were many things in the past where we were sure about something, relied upon it, yet it turned out to be complete bollocks, like the geocentric model of the solar system, or Newtonian mechanics that failed the test of Einstein's relativity. Only because things look like something, even if they really, really look like that something, does not mean that they necessarily are. And so can be all the things in our cozy, comfortable reality. If I say tomorrow I will wake up and my back won't hurt like a bitch, well, from the standpoint of physics and physiology, it's obviously wrong. We all know it's gonna happen. But the only way to disprove this statement is to use our empirical understanding of the universe. Just as easily I could postulate that there exists a higher being that lives on a different plane and grows a head every time somebody loses a pick. Oh, hell, where is it? The difference between these two statements is that when I wake up tomorrow and do have a backache, it doesn't matter, we'll just go on. We'll see that my statement was wrong. It takes an effect in reality, and it can be disproven. We just see that it just doesn't happen this way. But in the case with a pig head monster, it's completely ambiguous, which means that it does not have any effect on our reality that we can perceive, and thus is irrelevant. I mean, we can disprove it or prove it, but it just has no effect, and thus can be omitted. Being alive is weird. Like, it's awkward, honestly. Like, this whole thing, feels, We exist, and what I mean by that is that we are a part of reality. All there is of us as a person is all that there is in reality. We are limited and based here. We don't actually have, like, all there is of us is all that there is. There is no God, there is no higher being that commands us to do things. We are limited to whatever our body is. Well, let's just explore what an existence of such a pure being can be. What can we make of ourselves? Okay, so the first thing I'd like to design using my philosophical basis we've just discussed is the term of ego. Well, ego is just an answer to what is I? Where do I end? It's our self-definition. Well, it's really a very paradoxical matter, for we can't really just take all of the atoms comprising my body and define them to be me. After all, the boundary between my dead skin and air dust is way too vague. Furthermore, like, if we go to heart, which many falsely believe to be a place where soul dwells, and take a part of it away, I will still remain functional, though maybe not for a long time, but it's not an essential part of me. So it's really hard to just pinpoint what I am. But, using the first axiom we've discussed, that we exist, and so concurrently I, we can just allow that I to define what his body is, and where does this I end. I exist, by definition, and so I can myself just feel where I am. We all have this feeling innate, like we usually associate ourselves with the body we deem ours, but, well, why shouldn't I be, I don't know, a tree just outside, or this rugged old screen? After all, it's just an association. Moreover, extremely important is that this consciousness is limited. From our long-term observation, it has a clear source located somewhere in our fleshy, mushy brain that weighs no more than 2 kilograms, and thus is constrained to an impressive yet finite number of neurons. The architecture of this machine is also very much tangible and susceptible to earthly factors and triggers. Our consciousness, whatever it thinks of itself, can never usurp full control over that thing that makes it up. If a part of a brain dies, says one responsible for coordination, by no efforts of will can we restore that asset. No will can resist hormones making our neurons fire. Our existence forces us into reality. By no means can we escape the fact that there is an objective world which we perceive and exist in. So, we are mortal. After death, nothing will be left of us, and we won't even be there to witness eternal darkness. The cockroaches at our headquarters stop buzzing, and our cherished I ceases to exist. Life itself has no meaning, as there is no goal for reason or logic. There is no set of rules we must obey. Morale and ethics are just imagined terms that hold no objective value. Despite the shortcomings of our model, we start seeing their audacious counterparts rooted into the inevitability of existence. The tools we are given, such as logic, reason, and consciousness, far exceeds the needs or desires of our mortal body. Despite the insatiable aspiration for sense, we can still be happy. We can give up. We can experience happiness, or for that matter, any other emotion, without reason or sense in life. To prove this statement, we can provide this simple observation. Привіт, до тебе швидке питання в мене. Федя, ти колись був щасливий?
Сеня, що ходить?
Федя, ти колись був щасливий? Відповідай, пане.
Так.
Добре. Ярик, привіт. Привіт, Ярик. Ярик, в мене до тебе швидке питання. Ти колись був щасливий?
О Боже. Так. У тебе просто спочатку був такий голос, ніби ти якийсь інший. Ну, бо я розумію, що, мабуть, це ти, але я думав, що це інша людина. Вона якось дуже змінила.
Дякую, Ярик. Друге питання. Тобі в той момент не заважав той факт, що в житті нема сенсу?
Ні.
Все добре, бувай. Dякую.
Да.
Werbung dafür.
Warst du einmal in deinem Leben glücklich?
Ja, schon oft.
Gut. Findest du, dass das Leben Sinn hat?
Das, ja, einfach dadurch, dass es lebt.
Окей. Sehr gut. Vielen Dank.
Bitte.
Ти колись була щаслива?
Так.
Dякую. Of course that happiness was meaningless, undeserved, or we just fooled ourselves into it. Nevertheless, that does not discredit the emotion we felt. Paradoxically, our own nature of lacking control over our emotions and thoughts leads to satisfaction, passion, inspiration, curiosity, and other wonderful emotions such as misery, pain, disgust, and shame. We have the inner chemistry that allows for this spectrum, yet we do not have the autonomy to actually control it. This is the price in freedom we pay, to have an idea of what freedom is. My point is that there indeed is an intrinsic value to things, as we are naturally flawed to be affected by them. Our bodies are really what dictates our happiness, our satisfaction. This notion helps make sense of morale and ethics. As I mentioned before, these terms are completely imagined from our culture, but this culture itself is a reflection of our design. Our design to be afraid of pain or death, the desire to propagate the desire to content our lust for delicious foods, or to crave warmth. In an absurd world where nothing has an objective value, we who have to perceive things through our real constrained perception have to assign our subjective assessments to everything around us. The modern system of morale and ethics developed by humans is meant to facilitate a painless life while maximizing pleasure. It's not perfect, and it can never be. Throughout our history, it's seen many iterations and changes to come to its latest version, which is also not universal. Everybody tweaks it to extend themselves around chutzpah and shame. But there is a sense of popularized good and evil that's been cultivated in us from very childhood. What stems from this argument is that morale is malleable and not carved into stone, and that ethics is not a set of rules provided us by the universe, but just a reflection of our disguised egoism. I've been searching through my cliché dictionary, and look what I found. Life is absurd. We come from dust, and to dust shall all perish. But in the short time we are given to realize that, we may experience such meaningless subjective things as, say, love.